James Dean, The Curse of Little Bastard, September 30th, 1955. A silver Porsche 550. Spyder races down California Highway 466 at over 80 miles per hour. Behind the wheel sits James Dean, 24 years old, one of the biggest movie stars in the world. In the passenger seat, his mechanic Rolf Wütherich. Dean had nicknamed the car Little Bastard. He'd painted the name on the back just 2 weeks earlier. By sunset that day, James Dean would be dead, and the curse of Little Bastard would be just beginning. The rising star. James Dean's career lasted exactly 18 months. That's it. From his first major role to his death, just a year and a half. But in that brief window, he became a legend. Rebel Without a Cause wouldn't be released until a month after he died. East of Eden had come out just 6 months earlier. Giant was still being edited when he crashed. 3 films, 3 iconic performances, and then it was over. But here's what made James Dean different. He wasn't just acting rebellious, he was living it. The leather jacket, the cigarettes, the motorcycle, the sports cars. It wasn't a costume, it was who he was. And speed? Speed was his obsession. The warning. 2 weeks before the crash, something strange happened. British actor Alec Guinness was having dinner at a Hollywood restaurant when James Dean pulled up outside in his new Porsche. Dean was excited, showing off the car to anyone who would look. He invited Guinness to come see it. Guinness walked outside, looked at the silver Spyder, and felt something. A chill, a sense of wrongness. He turned to Dean and said, "Please never get in that car. If you get in that car, you will be found dead in it by this time next week." Dean laughed it off. Guinness was being dramatic. Actors, you know? 7 days later, James Dean was dead. The final day. September 30th, 1955 started normal enough. Dean had a race scheduled that weekend in Salinas, about 300 miles north. He'd planned to trailer the Porsche there, but at the last minute decided to drive it instead. "Break in the engine," he said. "Get a feel for the car before the race." His mechanic Rolf Wütherich rode with him. A photographer named Sanford Roth followed in another car. Dean's friend Bill Hickman drove Dean's station wagon as a support vehicle. They left Los Angeles around 1:30 p.m. At 3:30, a highway patrol officer pulled Dean over for speeding. 85 in a 55 zone. He wrote Dean a ticket. Dean signed it, smiled, and drove off. 2 hours later, he was dead. The crash. Highway 466 near Cholame, California. It's a straight road, flat, good visibility. Not the kind of place you'd expect a fatal crash. At 5:45 p.m., Dean was approaching an intersection. A 1950 Ford Tudor driven by 23-year-old Donald Turnupseed was coming from the opposite direction, preparing to make a left turn. Here's where the stories diverge. The official report says Turnupseed didn't see the low-slung silver Porsche. The sun was setting, the car was small and low to the ground, easy to miss. But witnesses said something else. They said Dean was racing, that he'd been passing cars on that straight stretch, flying at over 80 miles per hour. Rolf Wütherich, the passenger, said he saw the Ford turning and screamed, "Stop! He doesn't see us!" Dean had no time to brake. The Porsche hit the Ford's side at full speed. The impact nearly tore the small sports car in half. Dean's neck was broken instantly. Wütherich was thrown from the car, severely injured but alive. Donald Turnupseed walked away with minor injuries. James Dean was pronounced dead on arrival at the hospital. He was 24 years old. He'd been a major movie star for exactly 18 months. The curse begins. This is where the story gets strange. The wreckage of Little Bastard was bought by George Barris, a legendary car customizer. He planned to restore it, maybe put it in a museum. But the moment the wreckage arrived at his shop, things started happening. The engine slipped while being unloaded. It fell on a mechanic, crushing both of his legs. Barris decided not to restore it. Instead, he sold parts to other racers. Bad decision. A doctor bought the engine and transmission, installed them in his own race car. The first time he raced it, he crashed and died. Another racer bought the drive shaft. He crashed in his first race, survived but was paralyzed. 2 of the tires were sold to a young racer. Both tires blew out simultaneously during a race. The car flipped. The driver walked away, but he never raced again. The shell of the car was used in a safety display, touring high schools to warn teenagers about the dangers of speeding. In 1959, the truck carrying it crashed. The driver died. The car, barely a scratch. In 1960, the display was set up in Sacramento. The car fell off its mount, breaking a teenager's hip. In 1962, the shell mysteriously vanished. It was being transported to another safety display. The truck arrived. The car was gone. To this day, no one knows where Little Bastard ended up. The questions. So what really happened on Highway 466 that day? Was it just a tragic accident? A young man driving too fast? A moment of bad timing? A fatal mistake? Or was Alec Guinness right? Was there something wrong with that car from the beginning? The official investigation concluded that Dean was speeding, possibly racing, and that Turnupseed simply didn't see the small silver car in the fading light. Driver error. Case closed. But witnesses said they saw something else. Some claimed Dean wasn't speeding at all. That Turnupseed turned directly into his path? That it was Turnupseed's fault, not Dean's. Turnupseed himself refused to talk about it for the rest of his life. He died in 1995, 40 years after the crash, having never given a detailed public account of what happened. And then there's the curse. The string of deaths, injuries, and bizarre accidents connected to that car? Coincidence? Bad luck? Or something else? The legend! James Dean never saw himself become a legend. Rebel Without a Cause was released 1 month after he died. It became the defining film of teenage rebellion. The poster? James Dean in a red jacket, looking lost and defiant. An entire generation saw themselves in that image. Giant wouldn't premiere until a year after the crash. His performance earned him a posthumous Oscar nomination. He'd been a movie star for 18 months. But his legend? That's lasted nearly 70 years. Today there's a memorial at the crash site. Fans leave flowers, notes, photographs. The highway has been renamed. The intersection where he died is now called James Dean Memorial Junction. But the question remains, what if he'd listened to Alec Guinness? What if he'd trailered the car to Salinas instead of driving it? What if Turnupseed had seen him? What films would James Dean have made? What roles would he have played? Would he have become Marlon Brando? Paul Newman? Would he have burned out young anyway? Destroyed by fame and speed and recklessness? We'll never know. The final word. September 30th, 1955. A silver Porsche. A flat highway. A moment of impact. And a legend was born in the same instant a life ended. James Dean drove fast, he lived fast, and he died fast. Some say he saw it coming, that he knew somehow that his time was short. That's why he packed so much into those 18 months. 3 films, 3 perfect performances, a lifetime of rebellion compressed into a year and a half. The curse of Little Bastard? Maybe it was never the car. Maybe it was James Dean himself. Too bright, too fast, too reckless to last. But here's what we know for certain. A 24-year-old drove a silver Porsche into history, and 70 years later, we're still talking about it. The car is gone, the man is gone. But the legend never dies.